How are you guys doing today? Good. That's great. Today's conversation is about creativity and mental illness. We're going to talk with the blonde and the brunette. Now, back to you guys.
Well, thank you, George. As stated today, we are going to be talking about creativity and mental illness and the link between them two. Caitlin, would you like to tell the audience what mental illness is first?
Yes, mental illness is a mild to severe disturbance in thought or behavior.
Is there any credible sources that you would like to back up on the fact of what mental illness is?
Mental illness I got from a website called Mental Health America. It gave me many examples of like types of mental illnesses there are, and a few of them that I got were depression, schizophrenia, and the last one was bipolar.
Okay. Thank you, George. And so, with depression, Caitlin, would you please explain to the audience what depression is? For some that don't know, mental illness and whatever, depression is a very severe mental illness. And what is depression?
It's pretty much where you're in a very, very bad time in your life. You're extremely sad and you're in a dark hole where you feel like you just can't get out.
Right. And so, is there anybody in particular that you know of that struggles with depression?
Yeah.
2007 Britney Spears.
No,
George. Not that, George. We
not
have another
quite.
somebody. Thank you, though. But who is it?
His name, he goes by Hamlet.
Hamlet.
And his play called Hamlet.
Okay.
Yes. He went through a very hard time because his family kind of betrayed him in many ways.
Right.
His stepfather murdered his dad, and his dad ghost came and told him about it. So, he was shocked, and he went into this state where he even created a play that would get just a simple reaction out of his stepfather to really prove that he did it.
Right. And Nancy Andreasen, before we even kind of dive into some specific people that, suffer with mental illness, Nancy Andreasen is kind of the main subject of, why we're even talking about this today. And tell the audience, who Nancy Andreasen is so they can understand.
Well, she's very famous for, her novel or short story conducting the link between creativity and mental illness.
Right. And so you can go back into Hamlet, talking about depression and everything.
Yes. He used his depression to not really hide it, because most people with depression hide and cower from it, but he turned it around to use it for revenge. And to me, that's very creative because, in that state of mind, typically you don't want to do anything.
And his family did turn on him, correct?
Yes.
Tell him about the mother and the father and how that happened.
Well, the mother
married her cousin.
Right, George, thank you.
His mother married his dad's brother.
Right. Mm-hmm. And probably put Hamlet in a low point of his life, which is, why he was creative, but he also dealt with depression. And like Nancy Andreasen's point that she wanted to bring up is I've actually stated it right here. It says, as in the first study, I've also found that creativity tends to run in families and to take diverse forms. In its arena, nurture clearly plays a strong role. Mm-hmm. So therefore, because of the lack of nourishment that, Hamlet probably dealt with, I do completely agree 100% with her point that she was making there. And she also concluded these studies with lots of groups of people and did find that nurture is one of the key components that kind of helps deal with creativity. Because also as Nancy Andreasen said, that creativity is in everyone. It's just some people have it more than others. And I do agree with that. Just from the studies, and like Nancy Andreasen's point that she wanted to bring up is I've actually stated it right here. It says, as in the first study, I've also found that creativity tends to run in families and to take diverse forms. In its arena, nurture clearly plays a strong role. Mm-hmm. So therefore, because of the lack of nourishment that, Hamlet probably dealt with, I do completely agree 100% with her point that she was making there. And she also concluded these studies with lots of groups of people and did find that nurture is one of the key components that kind of helps deal with creativity. Because also as Nancy Andreasen said, that creativity is in everyone. It's just some people have it more than others. And I do agree with that, just from the studies that she's conducted with the little C experiment, the big C, and the duck test. Speaking on another form of mental illness, like you said, some of the other ones were like schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that comes to mind that you know of personally, or that you've done research on that had dealt with schizophrenia?
Yes, he's actually very well known. He goes by John Nash.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about John Nash.
John Nash is an American mathematician. He's an expert who made fundamental contributions to game theory, differential geometry, and the study of differential partial equation. He used this to really change how people view everyday life.
Right.
With this thought process, not only with math, but other life situations that he had to deal with. And
because he even stated, he said, because the ideas I had about supernatural beings came to me the same way that any mathematical ideas did, so I took them seriously. So he took, his schizophrenia, seeing these visions and everything like that, he took them seriously to stop them and kind of solved it as if a math problem. So like as he was saying, he helped America in, being like a genius, but also helping with everyday life, I know a lot of,
with it.
Right, and I know a lot of people talk about the fact that IQ has to do something with creativity, but as Nancy Andreasen stated in her novel, it does not, and I completely agree with that, because you don't have to be extremely smart to be creative. I know various people that are creative without, having an IQ of, 120 or such. So, anyways,
I completely agree.
So, where do you think, John Nash could have, concluded these, schizophrenia, or anybody for that matter? Where could mental illnesses come from? If it doesn't come from IQs or, such and such, where does it come from? Is there any research that you've done to conclude that?
Yes, I have looked up a couple of websites and a couple of resources, and a website that jumped out to me was activebeat.co. It explained to me that this mental illness can manifest themselves in various ways, as well as behavior. There are 11 physical symptoms, actually. A few of them that I will tell you is obesity, chronic pain, anxiety, etc.
Right. So kind of eating disorders and things like
yes,
that.
Definitely.
Going into eating disorders, is there anybody that you know of off the top of the head that kind of dealt with eating disorders, but was also a creative person that also dealt with mental illnesses as well?
Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of Demi Lovato?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, if you haven't heard already, she just came out and really just... it moved me. She came out with her mental disorder, and she's a very known, famous singer and actress, as you would per se. Demi suffered from bipolar depression, and she dealt with a eating disorder. But this started as early as 7, so you understand how hard it could be for someone to be 7 years old and realize this, But she also struggled with self-harm, a cocaine addiction, and alcohol abuse. But she quoted, I kind of got a point this last year when I was touring, and with some of my songs, Warrior in particular and Skyscraper, I used to talk about mental illness and my struggle with it, but then I felt as if like it was starting to define me as a person, as in an artist. And I didn't want people to think of my sob story when they heard my name. I wanted them to think of my music.
Right. So clearly she was a creative person, and so as of, just everything we talked about with Nancy Andreasen's points and just everything we concluded, I completely agree with, things that she has to say. And The Secrets of the Creative Brain, her little novel, was really good, and it's something that everybody needs to, take a look into, because it's got a lot of crazy facts. Unfortunately, we couldn't go through all of them today, but that was just one big, important topic that we wanted to talk to you guys today about, and we really appreciate you guys tuning in with us and listening to us, what we had to say. But as we said, take a look at Nancy Andreasen's novel, and we'll talk to you guys later. Thank you. Thank you.